So I hope you guys are enjoying that. By the way, this whole thing has been broadcast live, and the whole program is going to be available. We have a YouTube channel. It's the Digital 360 Summit, the YouTube channel. I don't know exactly when everything will be up and all the videos and everything, but they will be up. And if you want access to anything, slides, keynotes, just follow up with me. Should be an email. I wanted to talk to you today real quick for a few minutes about the Smart Grid Roadmap. So for those of you, Adriana, can you invite everybody to come in, please? Hello, guys. Coming in, please. Coming in. So CMG has been, there's Sasha. How are you, buddy? CMG has been working on this fulcrum point of intersection between smart cities, smart utilities, smart buildings since 2014. And we have done a lot of things, and the team has an incredible amount of depth. You heard from Akash Kanoja on what's going on with policy. He's a former New York Federal Reserve analyst, and we have really depth on the stuff that we're doing. And just as a reminder, we've done a lot of work with many cities: Brownsville, Masdar, Madison, all kinds of little cities, city of Austin, obviously, all kinds of utilities, help create the grid and the telecom infrastructure and the grid roadmaps for many of those utilities that are listed, and continue to do all kinds of things. You're today at Digital 360 Summit, which I think more of a think tank kind of place. It's very high quality, C-level stuff, deep folks coming together. And it's an annual event, and we're broadcasting live for the first time. And then we do the Digital Roundtable, which is a weekly talk show that we have every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Time. And we've been doing that for about 2.5 years. And we have interviewed just about everybody. If we have not interviewed you, you should contact Adriana. Adriana, raise your arm and make sure you get on the list so we can interview you. So real quick, on the Smart Grid Roadmap that we have done for many places. And the first place that we did this at was in Dubai for Dubai Electric Water Authority in 2014. That's one of our first customers that we had, and we had the pleasure of designing the grid in Dubai. Anybody been to Dubai? Okay, well, so whatever they're doing on electricity, we designed that in 2014. So the roadmap that we do is pretty classic, traditional consulting. We do an education visioning session, we do an assessment, we do a gap analysis. Then we go on and after gather all the data, build a roadmap and a business case. And then we also build a funding strategy and an execution plan. So on the education and visioning is all about what's going on all over the world and how would you, think about certain new ideas or capabilities or use cases that maybe you'd never thought of, and kind of the epiphany of, oh, wow, I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that could be done. I didn't know about that technology, X, Y, and Z, right? And when you think about it, there are roughly, for the electric utility, some 120 use cases of automation, from, feeders to, all the way to, meter, all the way to generation, everything in between, right? So the question is, do I have the time? How do I prioritize this? How do I deal with the 10,000 vendors that are calling me? And that's what Victor keeps running away from the phone every day. So then we do an assessment of sort of your state of the union, what's going on, what do you have running, what kind of infrastructure do you have? And then we do a gap analysis between what you think you wanted to do, and now that we did the education and visioning, you kind of have new ideas and new thoughts about maybe we should try that, maybe we should try that, maybe we should try that, right? And so now we do a gap analysis that takes you from sort of a roadmap in a maturity model that we have created from level 1 all the way to level 5. Then we spend a lot of time on the business case, the use case, the business model, and then we work with you on the funding and execution plan. And then ultimately we help create the components of what are the building blocks in the case of a public utility or a large private utility that wants to do RFPs, everything we create becomes artifacts for that RFP. So, you know all these trends and all these challenges, and we have expertise in all these things. We have done roughly between smart city roadmaps and smart utility roadmaps, about 80 of them since 2014 and all over the world. And what you want to do is you want to move from, multiple versions of the truth with too many single points of failure. This is the work that I did at Austin Energy from 2003 to 2010 to something like this, which is how the utility kind of runs today. I'm sure it has improved and gotten even better. Victor is still there running the show. But basically, the concept is Smart Grid 1.0 is if anybody read my book? Anybody read my book? Yeah, okay. So Smart Grid 1.0 to me is the integration of the utility assets. What I own as a utility, I want to integrate them all horizontally, right? They usually, generation guys don't talk to transmission, distribution, substations, AMI, they're all separate silos, right? And you want to really homogenize that, interconnect all that, right? Once you're done with that, then you move to, and you create an architecture like this, then you move to what I call Smart Grid 2.0, which is now we're going beyond the meter. We're going into DER, the infrastructure of the office, the hostel, the home, that is really not connected to you, right? And the question and the debate still remains, it's a load control that I control, that I'm the monopoly telling you what to do, or is it a market option and a pricing option, transactive energy, right? And transactive energy, unfortunately, or fortunately, today the reality is that it's illegal because the retail seller has the monopoly on the electrons that are being commercialized. So you cannot allow, peer-to-peer third-party transactions without the utility that owns the wires being involved. And why would they be allowing that when they have the monopoly on selling the electrons, right? So a lot of things need to change. But all that aside on the policy and the fact that policy needs to really where the great opportunity of the new market looks like, technology-wise is what we need to be fixing on the engineering side on how we enable all this. And we had a great discussion yesterday on networking that basically, we're almost there in many things, including the cybersecurity and managing all these disparate systems and with different real-time technologies, wireless and wire. And obviously, you want to end up with an architecture that kind of looks like this. And the biggest challenge that we have identified that needs to be solved in an easy fashion is how the data that is needed to make the decisions from all the systems that are collecting the data can be gathered quickly, easily, and then brought up, optimized, and then sent back to make the right decisions, right? And so that to me is really the thinking and the focus that should be done. Instead of trying to say, I'm going to get rid of all these things and I'm going to replace them for these new things, because it's really hard to do that. And what you want to focus is on having the best systems for the best use case on the right time, real time technology and investment, and then really focus on how you manipulate and move the data around. And that requires, in many cases, a new thinking on the architecture, a new strategies in cybersecurity, and so on. And so I would point you, obviously Austin Energy, my background, that Victor, it's a great source of, that information if you haven't met him yet. But there is a journey of difference between Smart Grid 1.0 and 2.0. And then we have this notion of building an ecosystem. Many of you probably have seen this. This is a slide that was created in 2007 when 400 of us were summoned to DC to create this smart grid roadmap architecture by NIST. And that was quite an ordeal. It was 2 weeks, 400 people in DC to come up with all these capabilities and how the systems of the future were going to run. And then if you remember, the Energy Act was created by Bush administration, Title 13, definition of smart grid and all that. And then eventually the Obama administration funded ARA, and many utilities got either $10 million or $200 million to do that. And so a lot of lessons were learned in the journey at Austin Energy on how to do that. Here's our smart grid maturity model and how you go about really it's a journey, right? It never ends. It's a new lifestyle. It's like doing the keto diet or whatever diet you're doing. And by the way, I am doing the thing where I don't eat breakfast and try not to eat lunch. So I'm trying to lose weight too. Um, and you know, the maturity model really helps a lot in grounding you in terms of what needs to happen and how you go about this journey of transformation. And one of the key things about it is what we're doing here at Texas State with Cedar is we're building pretty soon here a 64 megawatt solar farm. All of you that are utilities have been informed of this at the highest level. The solar farm is located in Blue Bonnet service territory, with LCRA being the transmission operator over that service territory. And we're going to close the deal probably by the end of November with a developer that will do a public-private partnership with us. And we'll go ahead and build the farm in 161 acres. And we'll also build a new lab, a smart energy and utilities lab, that will do all kinds of cool things around next generation power electronics, energy storage, fuel cell, solar PV, green hydrogen, EV charging infrastructure, and many more things. It will be a place for teaching. It will be a place for R&D. Of the 64 megawatts, roughly 6 megawatts are going to come through the building. The building will be one of a kind. We have a high bay, a place with a DC bus and an AC bus with a voltage range from 0 to 38.2 kV and with an amperage chain differential between 0 and 5,000 amps. So we will be able to mimic just about anything low voltage, medium voltage, and perhaps tinker with a few things high voltage. We will have 6 megawatts coming through the building. So that's going to be a unique setup. And so we're very excited about that. We are adding at the university a PhD program in a concentration undergraduate for power engineering. And you probably know that obviously between all the 8 utilities around us, you know, CPS Energy here, Austin Energy here, but also MBU, PEC, Blue Bonnet, LCRA. That was here yesterday. I don't know if anybody's here from LCRA today. And Pernalis, and so anyway, there are 8 utilities, and so we, you know, I think like a third of our engineers get hired by them currently. So we're hoping to grow that and spend some more time with on the power sector and smart energy sector. So I don't know if there are any questions on what we're doing here at Cedar, but if not, we're going to move to the panel next. But any thoughts or comments or questions on anything, Semi, anything you want to add to the lab? Okay, Dr. Aslam is my partner in crime. May I raise your hand on designing this new lab, and we're very excited about it. I think, as I told you earlier, DOE, Oak Ridge National Lab, Sandia, and NREL have decided to join Cedar, so we're very excited about that. And obviously, we have already, you know, some 20-some members, and we're hoping that all of you are going to join as well. Any comments, thoughts, questions? No? Thank you much.